All right. Good morning, everyone. Again, it's great to see all the faces, all the familiar faces from our participants in phase one, and we're really happy to see all of you guys back here for phase two. We're really excited to kick the second phase off for you guys, and it's a continuation really. So this is you guys get to move the tassel on the cap from moving from the 101 introductory classes to the more advanced class here in the Colorado Water Loss Initiative. All right. So we're really happy to see you here. Before we get started, I do want to pass the mic over to Kevin Reedy with the Colorado Water Conservation Board. Kevin is the man in charge of leading this effort and providing this opportunity to water utilities across the state. So Kevin, if you'd like to give a few opening words for us, sir.
Sure thing. Hey, Kevin Reedy with the Colorado Conservation Board. How you guys doing? Good to see so many of you guys back for this next round and this more advanced round for you guys. Really good to see that, and I just want to give you a big thanks for participating in this, because we are the largest voluntary statewide program of this kind in the nation, or maybe in the world. I don't know, but we're doing it this way, and so we've had some really great participation. But I just want to thank you for putting your time and effort into this, and improving your systems and improving your processes, but also helping us, helping me at the state, further this goal, and really become more efficient, and and looking at these things a little more in depth. And I'm actually looking forward to kind of learning along with you guys too, because there's a lot of stuff that I haven't even gotten into yet in this level, where our experts are going to lead us through this stuff. And so I'm really looking forward to learning alongside you guys as well through this whole process. And I'm really hopeful that it's going to be a really good thing for you guys, your systems, as well as the state of Colorado. So big thank you from us, and happy learning. How's that?
That's awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. Happy learning indeed. All right. So the time of our webcast and our time together this morning, we want to walk through first just kind of a little bit of a look back on phase one, and then a program overview, looking at some of the reintroducing the project management team and all the entities that are involved in putting this program together. Then we'll look at more of what's going to be germane to this advanced group, and the offerings and the learning opportunities that are going to be available through phase two to you guys. And Isabel's going to talk a little bit more about that. And then we'll, before we go to the question and answer session, we'll talk about some of the next steps, mostly signing up for available workshops, and who needs to attend these workshops, and what you need to bring. So this is our flow for the day. And I'll get us kicked off here with our program overview. And so I want to talk about these supporting entities again, all the organizations going that are a part of making this program happen. We'll introduce our project team and look at some of the program objectives for phase two, and a little bit of a look back at what we did together in phase one. So the same players are involved again for phase two. First of all, I should start by saying phase two really came about, if you guys recall, you participated in a survey at the end of phase one, and the largest response of follow-on activities was advanced validation. A close second was continuing training and technical assistance with using the water audit. So all of that is going to be part of this, and that's why we're here today. We heard from you guys that advanced validation is not only a reasonable next step, but it's something that all of you guys were interested in. So at the top of this matrix here, we've got the Colorado Water Conservation Board as the state agency administering the program. We have our advisory committee, and no doubt some of our advisory committees are on the line here this morning. Our advisory committee, they're really tasked with helping our program management team stay on task and on message, make sure we're getting the word out during this outreach and recruitment phase, but also make sure our messaging is done in a way that we are retaining folks into the program and keeping folks engaged and involved. So they're a communication steering committee, to say it another way. Our supporting entities, these are different professional organizations around the state, ones that we used during phase 1 to help us really get the word out about the program, and they're serving as an outreach channel to make sure they're using their network, getting the word out through presentations, workshops that they're holding, newsletters, email blasts, things of that nature, but various supporting entities across the state helping us advocate for participation in this program. Our program management team, so hopefully you'll see a lot of familiar faces here. This is the team that will be working with you guys during the workshops that you'll be attending, as well as with some direct technical assistance later on in the program. Up at the top with Will, myself, and Isabel, and also Maher down here at the bottom of the screen. If you are receiving any emails or send any inquiries through the team at coloradowaterloss.org, you're more than likely communicating with one of us. But we have a great bench of expert teachers, just like we did in phase 1. And so you will likely be working with one of these folks throughout the duration of the program. So it is again a joint effort between Kavanaugh and WSO. For those that may be new to this, maybe your utility is not new to this, but maybe you are a new individual to this. My name is Drew Blackwell. I'm with Kavanaugh. I will give a quick opportunity for Isabel and Maher to say hello as well. Isabel, would you come off mute and just say hello to the folks?
Hi, good morning, everyone. And I'm so happy to see so many of you here again in this program, and looking forward to get the work started again.
Great. All right. And Maher, would you go next for us, sir?
Hi, everyone. It's good to be back and in touch with some of you already. So let's hope for the best about in this program, and we'll keep on communicating.
All right. Excellent. We also have on the line Kevin Burgers from WSO, who'll be helping us out with this direct technical assistance as well. Kevin, would you mind just popping on and saying hello to everybody?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, the newer face in this project, but excited to be working with you all and learn more about the project.
Great. Thank you, guys. All right. So program objectives for phase 2. We are again providing a program of basic and advanced training in water loss management. So we've broken this group or this program up into 2 individual tracks. The advanced learners, this is you guys on the line. You are coming into this after gaining that baseline knowledge of water auditing and the AWWA M36 methodology. You guys went through 2 years of water auditing data, and now are ready to take some follow-on steps in your water loss program. We also have another track of new learners that are coming in where you guys came in at the beginning of phase 1. So we actually held that webcast for them yesterday, and it was very interesting because we received questions about percentage of water loss, and this group on the line now learned through phase 1 that that we're moving away from tracking our water losses as a percentage, but instead we're looking at our water losses in terms of the volume, the value, and then how valid the data is. So it was just kind of a nice context to speaking with you guys, knowing that you guys have that baseline knowledge, and then excited to bring more new learners into the program and teach them about the M36 methodology here. So as it says here on the slide, that for this group, it's going to be more of a focus on advanced techniques and concepts, and that'll be paired with direct technical assistance that Isabel is going to talk about in more detail in a little bit. So the general pathway for this phase 2. So this advanced group, you guys are starting with the green dot down here at the bottom. So your next interaction through this program will be attending workshops, just like we did in phase 1. Just a note about the workshops: when we asked you guys to register, we were interested in understanding your preferences in attending an in-person workshop versus a virtual workshop. So we do plan to hold both. We will have some in-person workshops as well as a couple virtual workshop opportunities available. This is an interesting time for setting up in-person workshops, and we want to make sure that everybody's comfortable and make sure that we can provide this training and technical assistance to everybody in a way that they feel comfortable doing that. So we'll talk a little bit more about the mechanism to sign up for these workshops, but it's going to be the same through our program website, and just a process that you guys are already familiar with through phase 1. But starting there at the green dot, you'll go through your workshops, and at the same time, our project management team will be doing some ranking and prioritization for the technical assistance that will be provided to you guys. So that's basically the flow here. We'll look at the timeline of that, of when that may happen here in just a second. There is an opportunity for those folks that are new to the program, those new learners, to come back into the same workflow as you guys are going through, to get some of that technical assistance if they have the appetite to do so. So it's a very comprehensive design that we've set up here in phase 2, and given you guys that priority to move through to those advanced technical assistance offerings that we're going to have. To look at that in a different light, looking at the timeline here. So the workshops are scheduled to start as early as 1 month away from now. Our first in-person workshop is scheduled for December 1st in the Denver area, and then we'll have some virtual workshops later on in the month of December there. We'll have some more in-person workshops January through March 2022. Some of those in-person workshops are still being confirmed, those venues, because again, we want to make sure we have coverage around the state for all of our registered participants in the program. But those workshops will be taking place from November through March, and that direct technical assistance will also be starting in early 2022. and will carry through into to 2023 there. And Isabel, we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So just a look back at phase one. Again, this is not news to all the folks that participate in phase one, but we also acknowledge there may be some new staff members on the line that are hearing about this for the first time. But in phase one, this was really to provide that base knowledge of the AWWA M36 methodology and introduce you guys to the water audit software. We did that in that first stage one workshop, and then asked you guys to complete the water audit software with your 2018 data, and we engaged you guys in a level 1 validation where you guys were working with a member of our team and really looking to make sure that the water audit was done correctly and according to the M36 methodology. And then we're also asking a lot of questions of you guys as well about your practices and policies within your system. So that was a way to assess how reliable the data was going into the water audit. In stage 3, we came back and talked about how to interpret some of those results from your water audit and what are some of those general next steps or things that you may consider moving on to in your water loss program. And that was really the first insert of what phase 2 is going to be. So in that stage 3, we talked a lot about supply meter testing, customer meter testing as common next steps in a water loss program. So those are just going to be a couple of the offerings that we're going to be talking about in this phase 2 of the program. And then in stage 4, we rounded out the program. Stage 4 was a little tricky, even though it was always designed to be remote. It kicked off in March of 2020, right when things were getting a little crazy with the pandemic. But to your credit, many folks stayed on and plowed through and still carried on with the level 1 validation of their 2019 data. And hats off to you guys for sticking with that. The reason we have tagged you guys as the advanced group here is because you either successfully participated and completed stages 2 and or 4 in phase 1 of the program. And that's really the prerequisite to entering this program as the advanced group here. Just a spread geographically of the folks the utilities that registered for phase 1. We've got certainly some new utilities interested in phase 2 as new learners, but for you guys, we're wanting to make sure that we are getting you back into the program to take advantage of this direct technical assistance in phase 2. Just a quick snapshot of what we accomplished in phase 1 of the program. Again, stage 2 was that level 1 validation of your 2018 data, and stage 4 was another level 1 validation of your 2019 data. And looks like, actually, sorry, I think we might have these charts flipped. But in stage 2, or when your 2018 data, the data validity, there was a big variance in some of those data validity scores. And then in stage 4, when we looked at your 2019 data, those data validity scores were much, the variance in those scores were much closer. And what that says to us is that you guys were better understanding the way your way around the water audit, also better understanding how to interpret those data validity grades and the practices and policies within your system. So we definitely expected that first go round with your 2018 data to be to see a big swing in those data validity scores, and also expected in 2019 for them to be much closer and less of a variance there. And that's how it played out. And so it was an example of you guys learning to apply what you've learned in those workshops. All right. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Isabel. She's going to talk a little bit more detail about what you guys can expect through this advanced group track. So Isabel, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then let you share yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Drew. So let me bring up my screen. Always got to have these smooth transitions in the webinar, right? Okay. So quick check, Drew. Am I sharing the right screen here?
Looks good.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
No, we went to the other one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Great. Thank you all. Oh, so good to see everyone. So glad that to have this group here with us, and very looking forward to continuing the program with the advanced group. So I will be talking a little bit about what we're going to expect for the program. We'll do a little review of the M36 concepts. I'll explain some of the advanced validations or the technical assistance opportunities for this group, and then talk a little bit about how you can get this technical assistance and how to decide which kind of technical assistance would be best for your system. So starting out with a little bit of a review of the M36 concepts, we're all here to deal with water loss, and we all want to minimize water loss. So in order to minimize it, we have to understand it, and we just have to be very clear. We're talking about the difference between our water supplied and our consumption, and that's defined as the water loss. And that water loss, we want to divide it between what is an apparent loss and what's a real loss. If you remember, an apparent loss is any water that you served to your customers, but you didn't really get revenue for it due to different technical or circumstances that might have happened in the utility. And a real loss is that water that's leaked out of the system. So understanding that those two types of losses have different causes, different solutions, and different values to your system. And understanding those will help you decide which one do we tackle? Do we tackle both? Should we concentrate on one or the other? How much is it going to cost? What benefit are we going to get from dealing with these two types of losses? So we want to make sure that we want to understand that so that we could be effective and cost effective in the actions that we take. And for that, we have to first understand our volumes. What are our volumes of water losses? What are our volumes of real losses or apparent losses? What's the value of that? How much money does that represent to my system? If it's an apparent loss, how much lost revenue does it mean that the system didn't get? If it's a real loss, how much expense is that real loss? How much additional expense is that real loss causing us to have by having to produce the water that's just going to be leaked out of the system? And then understanding the validity of those estimates. You can't put a meter on your leak to know how much you're leaking and put a meter on all of your leaks. So coming up with that volume of real loss that's coming out of your system is really an exercise of a math exercise, a water balance. And that estimate is just going to be as good as your numbers that you're putting into that calculation. So understanding how close you are, how accurate you are in that estimate is also an important component of this process. Because if you're not very certain about your volume of real losses, then it might not be worth it at that point to start tackling the real losses. It might be more important to just get a better understanding of your real loss volume before you start working with it. I mean, there's plenty of stories out there of utilities who've gone through their water audit with uncertain data. They come out with really high losses. And then after correcting the data, understanding better what their sources of error were, coming up with a completely different estimate of real losses. And that's the kind of situation that you want to avoid. You don't want to start working on real losses when that number might not be as high as you think, or it might not be as low as you think either. And that's the importance of having good understanding the validity of your numbers and your estimates. And also as a reminder, the tool that we use for this whole process that we learned during phase 1 is the free water audit software that was developed by the Non-Revenue Water Committee of the American Water Works Association. And this might look a little bit different to all of you from what we discussed in phase 1, because this is now version 6 of the software. If you remember, when we were in phase 1, version 5 was the latest version that was out. And then in December of 2020, the committee published the new version 6 of the software. Part of the training that we're going to do and the workshops that we'll have is going through this newer version and understanding how to use it. The concepts are basically the same. We're still doing a water balance. We're still looking at our supply volumes. We're looking at our billed consumption and our estimated apparent losses and customer metering and accuracies. All the concepts behind the spreadsheet are the same. What's different is how we're going to give a grade to our different values. So if you remember during phase 1, you would look at the data validity grade of each of your inputs and decide, am I at a 3? Am I at a 4 or a 5? Which score do I give myself on the supply volume here? And to go, in order to determine that, you'd have to go through the matrix and kind of self-assess where you were in terms of your data validity, your equipment maintenance, your tracking procedures, and all of that. So now with version 6, that process is a little bit more automated. You go into, for each of the components, there's a list of questions that you answer. Most of the answers have a multiple choice, so you don't have to come up with the answers yourself. There's choices there, and you pick whatever describes the practice or the situation as close as possible to what is happening in your system. Based on those answers, the software will automatically give you the score for the grade. So it takes away a little bit of the bias in it and makes it a more uniform process for across the systems. So we'll go through all of that when we are in the workshop, so that you all can keep using the free water audit software and you're all updated on the latest technology for this. Another addition, another revision to the software is a much improved dashboard with results. So as Drew mentioned, we don't want to look at percent of water loss as our performance metric. We want to start looking at different metrics that describe the operation of the system or the performance of the system, whether it's a real loss or an apparent loss. And there's a whole bunch of different performance metrics that some of them we discussed during phase 1. There's a couple of new ones that were developed after phase 1 that are also being recommended to be evaluated when you're looking at water losses. And we'll get to discuss all of this. As you can see here, not only will you have your result, what does your water audit look like, the results of your water audit in terms of these performance indicators, but you get a comparison of how are you performing in comparison with other systems throughout the US. And these data sources are water audits that have been compiled and level 1 validated in different states. I believe some of them are California, Georgia. I'm not sure if there were other states involved here, but there's hundreds of data, if not more, from different systems that are providing the background for your comparison with your system. So these are all great improvements that will help us all understand our losses and understand where we could be. So in addition to that, with the workshops, the great upgrade and the great addition to phase 2 is this advanced technical assistance that you all will be eligible to participate in. There's different types of assistance that will be available to all the systems. And what kind of assistance you will get is going to depend on the results of your water audits that we worked on during phase 1, and your readiness and your willingness and your interest as well. So we'll take all of that into account when deciding what technical assistance will be offered. Some of the alternatives are source meter testing, billing data analysis, customer meter test design and result analysis, leakage component analysis, and leak detection. During phase 1, we did have some of our advanced participants of phase 1 that participated in some of these. It was a more reduced number. So here, since we have a much larger advanced group, this will be available for all of you. Going into one of the alternatives is source meter testing. As you remember, the supply volume is the most important number in your water audit. If you don't know that number very well, your estimate of real losses is going to have a large range of error. So before you start taking any action to tackle your water losses and your real losses, you want to make sure you understand how accurate your supply volume is and what your supply volume number really looks like. So some utilities will have the opportunity to test their source meters so that we can improve their understanding of that supply volume. This is a field test, so this will require some visit. Kevin, who you met shortly, Kevin Burgers, might be one of your technicians assisting you during this process. So before we get into any of these, there will be conversations, one-on-one conversations with each of the utilities to assess interest and feasibility. Another alternative is the analysis of your meter read and billing system data. If the supply volume is the most important number in your water audit, the billed metered authorized consumption is the second most important number in your water audit. You also want to make sure that you have a relatively accurate number there, or that you understand the level of error that you might have in that number. And that number is coming from your meters, from your water meters at your customers' properties. And it goes through a whole bunch of steps prior to you using it in the water audit. In all of those steps, from reading the meter, entering the data getting processed, some calculations being done, some tables being formed and transformed and sent to different systems. There's a lot of things that could happen or that could go wrong in each of those steps. So with this analysis, we want to see if how good that summary table that we have at the end of all of these steps, really how well that summary table captured the actual volume that was registered through that meter. So this exercise is an attempt at looking at all that steps, looking at all those potential sources of errors and quantifying them, or trying to correct any volume for your BMAC estimate. Another alternative for our advanced technical assistance is a real loss component analysis. And this is where we take your volume of real losses that you're estimating through your water audit, and then you're decomposing it into additional components of real losses. So you have the real loss volume, that's the total volume of water that leaked from your system. And that real losses can be subdivided additionally into different types of leakage. There's background leakage, there's unreported leakage, and there's leakage that you already repaired. So it's in theory not happening anymore. Understanding these different types of sources or different types of leakage can help you understand what the right strategy is to tackle that. Background leakage is not going to be reduced by doing a traditional leak detection survey, because by definition it's not detectable. And reported leakage has already been repaired, so you don't need to go out there and find it. So understanding all these nuances between the different kinds of leakage will help you come up with a good strategy for tackling real losses, if that's at the point where you are. So this analysis will collect, during the analysis, we'll collect a lot of data from the system, including a water audit, and leakage rates, any results from leak detection surveys, if you have done any in the past. If not, it's fine, it's not a requirement. And any data that you might have on the reported leaks or the leaks that have been repaired through the system. And with that data, it'll be analyzed and determined what your leakage profile is for the system, so that based on that leakage profile, you can understand what strategy would be best to manage those levels of leakage. Another alternative for technical assistance that will be offered is leak detection. So a leak survey is a kind of field investigation where we have technicians that go out and walk your system with special acoustic equipment. And they come into contact with your water meters, your services, your fire hydrants, whatever is accessible to them that will get them in touch with the pipes underground. And through that exercise, they can hear to see if there's any undetected leaks, any leaks that might not be surfacing throughout your water distribution system. For this, they use a series of different equipment. And this is a type of exercise where you could either choose to do a part of the system that you might know has high leakage. Depending on size and scope, it will be determined how much of the system will be surveyed. And hopefully at the end of this, you will have a list of potential leak sources in your system for repair. So how are we going to determine who's getting what type of service? So we're going to be reviewing the water audit and the level 1 validation documents that you did during phase 1. And we're going to look at from one side on the level of water losses in your system, and from the other side, the validity score, or the amount of confidence that we have in that water audit. You know, systems that have low water losses with low confidence, there might not be any benefit for them to do leak detection, because there might, either there's not a lot of leakage, or there might be leakage, but you don't know it because there's issues in the data that need to be corrected first. So in a system like that, maybe an exercise that will help them understand their losses better. So either testing supply volume or doing an analysis of their billing data might be a more appropriate technical assistance. If you have a system that has high loss with high confidence in your water audit, then going through the real loss assistance alternatives might be an alternative for them, either a real loss component analysis or actual leak detection. So that's kind of the thought process and the analysis that we'll be doing with the water audits and the level 1 validation documents to come up with a list of opportunities for your systems. Once we have that list and that ranking available, somebody from the program will be reaching out to you to go over the results, go over the alternatives, have a discussion on what your impressions are, what for the system, how available you are for doing these exercises and the preference. So with that, we can talk about the next steps. But before we move into the next step, I think it might be a good opportunity now to do a poll. Maher, if you're ready for that, I think we have a poll ready to understand the level of interest from you guys, from your systems on these advanced technical assistance. This is non-committal, so you're not tied to whatever answer you give here. But if you can, just give us an idea of what kind of technical assistance you would be interested in this program. And I'll let Maher bring the poll up. So if you can all see it, there will be a question up there. So it's asking what kind of technical assistance you would be most interested for your system. If you can just select one, give us an answer of what you think you would be more interested in, and then click submit. And again, this is not a permanent answer. You won't be tied down to this. This is just for us to have an idea of what you guys think you would be more interested in. So if you can just select an answer and then click submit, that would be great.
Okay, I will be closing the poll and see the results.
Okay, great. This is great. There's a good spread here of interest, a lot of source meter testing. We're on the right track with this group. A lot of billing data analysis and a handful of the other ones. This is great. Well, thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much for this. Okay. So now we can move on to what the next steps are for the program. So as you all know, we have the program website. It's the same website or the same address as last year. The website has had a few updates since phase 1. So we are at coloradowaterloss.org. And you can go in there to find all the information on the program. It would also be the place for you to schedule your workshops, to download or to view this video if you want to review any of the information that we've presented today. And it'll just be a hub for all the information and all the exchanges related to the program, just as it was during phase 1. And Drew will give us a little bit of a tour on it once we finish here. In terms of the workshops, we've already have a few of them scheduled. So like Drew mentioned, our first in-person workshop is going to be on December 1st at the CWCB office in Denver. And that's going to be a full day workshop, very similar to how it was last year. I'm sorry, the previous phase. Last year didn't happen. In the previous phase, lunch will be provided, and we'll be discussing more of the advanced topics related to water loss. We'll be going also more in depth into the technical assistance that will be provided in version 6 of the software as well. We also already have scheduled one virtual workshop, or actually 2. So the first virtual workshop will be December 16 and 17. These are going to be half day. So the in-person workshop is one full day. The virtual is the same version, but instead of being one full day in the virtual setting, it'll be 2 half days. So it'll be December 16 and 17. We will also be holding a second virtual workshop on March 10 and 11, and that will also be 2 half days as well. For our other set of in-person workshops, those are planned to be around February of 2022. And we're looking at locations in Glenwood Springs and Pueblo. So those will be the advanced workshop opportunities that we have for 2021. Make a note of them and pick your favorite one, and you could actually go to our website to sign up. Maybe not today, but definitely from tomorrow on, for your favorite workshops. And we'll be working on obtaining a more exact date for the January and February workshops, and we'll send you that information as soon as we have it available. So very similar to phase 1, you should bring maybe your same participants of phase 1 or more people if you're interested in. We usually like to talk to people from the supply metering side, customer metering side, billing, management. If you have leak detection people or people that manage leak repairs or any real loss program that you might have, it would also be good to be in that program. And again, you can bring your laptop. You can either bring one per person or one per group. And a lot of enthusiasm, just like you did during phase 1. These workshops were definitely very, very good experiences. We had a lot of good exchange with everyone. So just come again and learn a little bit more about water loss management. So that was it for now, Drew. If you want to take on the screen share so that you could give us a quick tour of the web page before we start our question and answer section.
Yep, I'd be happy to, Isabel. All right. As Isabel mentioned, same website that you guys are used to from phase 1, coloradowaterloss.org. So on this website, it looks a little bit different, and to the comments in the chat, we have separated this out to define the new learner track and the advanced group track a little bit more. They may have some of the same resources, but some resources are going to be different. So for the advanced group, you can go to the workshops page, and there's also a resources page. Certainly some of the resources for the advanced group may be a little bit different than the new learner group. So it was important to make that distinction there. But so this is going to be the workshop page is where you're going to go to schedule your workshop. As Isabel mentioned, we are still confirming some of the venues throughout the state, some of the in-person venues throughout the state, and making sure that we're understanding any differences in their procedures and capacity. So it has taken a little bit longer to confirm some of those venues, but we do have the first venue available in Denver. Kevin and the CWCB have been very gracious to host that first one December 1st at their facility. And then if you're not able to make that in-person event, we do have the next one that says, okay, there we go. Our first of 2 virtual offerings. We decided that the middle of December is probably a perfect time to offer this as a holiday gift of sorts. Understanding that is a busy time for everyone, we wanted to to make sure that we gave this virtual opportunity in December, and also this first opportunity for folks who are more comfortable in a virtual setting with all the COVID restrictions and protocols going on. This is your chance to jump on that. Important to note, the in-person workshops are a full day, and the virtual workshops are broken up into 2 consecutive blocks. So those are going to be held from 8:30 a.m. to noon. So on this one, it'll be December 16th during the morning block, and then the remainder of the workshop will be the following day on December 17th, that Friday, again from 8:30 to 12. So just know when you sign up for the virtual, you are actually signing up for 2 consecutive morning blocks there. Aside from there, we just have some introductory information. I'll just still a moment here to say, if you speak with any other utilities in your professional network that have not signed up for this program, let them know your experience in phase 1 and this opportunity that you're getting ready to embark on in phase 2. This program is really designed for utilities of all sizes. Again, for folks that are coming in as a new learner, they have a pathway to go through and take advantage of some of this direct technical assistance. So you guys on the line are the champions of this program. You are the ones that are continuing on with it. So if you do have that opportunity, let folks know that this program is out there. I mentioned we have several different outreach channels, but you guys are certainly an outreach channel to get the word out as well. But just like in phase 1, your advanced group resources tab, this is going to evolve as we move through the program. So first example is we'll post the recording of this webcast here on the advanced group resources page. And as we continue to develop and share different resources, they'll be posted here. So this is going to continue to be a hub of information for all things updates, schedules, and resource information. All right, I think that is all we need to know about the website, Isabel. I think we're good to take on any Q&A here.
Absolutely. If there's any questions, please let us know. You can unmute yourself and speak up, or type it in the chat box, whatever you prefer.
We've had some good, while people are thinking about the questions they might have, we've had some good questions come in through the chat, some specific to supply meter testing, and that's certainly something that Isabel discussed, and one of the direct technical assistance aspects that you can take advantage of. So that's a great example of something that is being offered. A reminder that during phase 1, you guys did receive some validation notes. So as you were listening to Isabel talk about some of the supply meter testing, a billing data analysis, some or several of those things may have been documented in those validation notes. So as you're starting to think about some of these offerings, it's a good thing to go back and review those validation notes and see what was recommended during phase 1. And also when the poll that we did, which it was great to see a good spread of interest there, and it's certainly not a that's not a commitment that you just made by filling out that poll, just for us to kind of gauge the room there. But we also understand that some of you may not know what direct technical assistance you want to take advantage of yet. So I just wanted to reiterate that that's why this program is here, to help you to understand what are the best available options for your specific utility profile.
Hey, Drew.
Yes.
This is Andrew Kirsch with Eagle River Water Sand District. So one of my questions around that, what you just mentioned is, we are really trying to tackle a comprehensive approach to water loss. That includes, customer meter, accuracy testing, and as we're taking on AMI technology, it's allowing us to look at both supply metering and customer metering a little bit more closely, but also from the financial standpoint, so really trying to, when I answer that question, and I ended up answering customer billing. However, because we have such a diverse network in our infrastructure, I'm really trying to look at things very comprehensively. So is there going to be any limitations in the technical assistance as to what the focus has to be?
I'll start, and Isabel, you can add. So I think to answer your question, there will be some limitation to the technical assistance there. So if your primary focus is in, for example, supply meter testing, then that will be the primary direct technical assistance offered to you guys. Perhaps some high level guidance on a secondary focus, but one of these, all of the direct technical assistance won't be offered to each utility. We'll need to focus in on that primary technical assistance that's needed. Isabel, anything to add there?
No, I think, Drew, I think that your answer was right there. The technical assistance that's being offered, it's as we described here. It's basically going to be one technical assistance per system, and it'll be the primary one. Of course, that determination will be made not unilaterally by us, but in conversation with the system. So there might be one or two that might be recommended for the system, and that will be a conversation with you as to which one you and you think it would be best for them. The ones that are described here are typically the most commonly performed ones. Usually most systems need some form of these activities here. If there's any real special circumstances in your system where you think a different kind of validation might be necessary, that's something that we could talk about and see what makes sense.
Yeah. And Andrew, I would applaud you guys for taking that comprehensive approach. I mean, it's always good to look at the big picture there. I think every utility is different. Some utilities, as they're approaching this, we all understand that this is an evolving process, and there may just be the resources to tackle one thing at a time, and so that's one of the things that this program is serving to kind of initiate there.
Great, thank you.
I do have a probably difficult question at this point. The January, February, do you have a preference over Pueblo or Glenwood Springs? Or is it too early?
It'll be both. We're planning one in Pueblo and one in Glenwood Springs.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Did I say that wrong? One in Glenwood Springs and one in Pueblo. I think I said Pueblo Springs.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So Isabel and I are not in Colorado. Yes, there will be an in-person workshop in each of those cities, ma'am. So Isabel, looks like we have a question in the chat box from Rich if we could describe the extent of the technical assistance. So part of that will be covered during the actual workshops. Is there anything that you would like to add there, Isabel, in more detail that we've provided here in this introductory session?
So the extent of the technical assistance is we're going to attempt to execute the technical assistance that was described here and selected for your system. In cases like source meter testing, that might include coming up with a plan for testing the meter and then executing that plan and actually testing the meter if it's feasible in the system. For leak detection, it's actually going into the field and performing the leak detection as well. For the leakage component analysis, that's a collection of data and an analysis of the data to come up with a plan. So it's going to depend on the type of assistance. Some of them actually require field work. Some of them are more of a data analysis type of assistance. So it'll depend on the type of assistance, the system's readiness, availability, and feasibility to do that technical assistance, and their preference and willingness as well.
Mhm.
Did that answer your question? Great.
All right, guys. Any other questions that we have here from the group?
I have one potentially.
Okay.
So do you think that people potentially could do both the advanced and the introductory at the same time? For
Great question, Bobby. Bobby, could you remind me which system you're with?
I'm with
And,
Pueblo West Metropolitan District, so I'm with Kathy.
Great. So Pueblo West, it will, as a utility, will move through the advanced track. If you are a new staff member or just being brought into the water loss team at Pueblo West, you are absolutely welcome to join the new learner curriculum, right? So as an individual, yes, you're welcome to sign up for that. As a utility, Pueblo West will move through the advanced track, if that makes sense. And I can reach out to you offline, Bobby, to help establish that, when those courses are coming up and how to sign up for those.
Awesome, thank you.
You
And I
bet.
got a quick question too. Also, this is Catherine at Pueblo West Water.
Hey,
So,
Catherine.
how you doing, guys? Good to see y'all
Good.
again. So I do have our validation that I got from Kim for 2019, but I'm not finding my 2018 validation. You guys do have that on file somewhere, is that correct?
We should have that on file. I'll make a note to look into that for you, Catherine, and follow up with you.
Okay, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
You bet. Okay. Great questions today, guys. Again, we're very excited to be working with this group again, and glad to see you guys back here in phase 2. Go ahead and if you know that you would be that you want to attend the in-person workshop in Denver or the virtual workshop in December, in the middle of December, go ahead and sign up for that. If you want to hold tight until we lock down the dates for the other in-person workshops, we should have those coming soon and posted to the website, and we will let you know via email once those are available. So either way, the website is going to be your place to sign up for those workshops as the next step in the program. So with the questions slowed down here, I think we're at a good wrap point. And thank you all again for joining today. And I think we're going to go ahead and conclude the webcast today.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.